Welcome to the Random
Hey,
Ranting
what's up?
Review Hour. Hey, I fucked that up. I fuck everything up every little stream. Sorry about that, guys. Hopefully you can hear me now. Thanks for joining us, Maverick Productions, a.k.a. Tim. And whatchamacallit, thank you for Nick telling us that my voice was not picking up. So we are here on the Rambling Ranting Review Hour on episode 9 or 10, episode 9, to talk about Demon Slayer. Everyone's favorite shonen anime, the Shonen King of 2009. So you're saying that you think it's a great series, and I was about talking about, like, I think it's a great series, but I think it's kind of like a little bit like a very thin, basic bitch shonen anime. But it's like a really great adaptation, 10 out of 10. And I was starting to dig into my nitpicky things about what I don't like about Demon Slayer. Now, the thing I don't sort of like, so let's get into the world building and the fact that why does Nezuko need to keep her gag on when we see all the other demons are able to, like, have comprehensive thought and, like, talk and not just, like, maul people all the time? We see Tamio, we see the little kid who loves Tamio, we see lots of other demons who all love eating shit, who are, like, you know, can suppress their things, and they're not just, like, raving monsters that are going, ah, 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 and they can talk. Well, why does Nezuko have to keep... And I have a reason why, and you're not going to like the reason. Well, maybe you'll like the reason.
Which demon in particular are you talking about?
The good demon, the one who wants to help them fight Muzan, the pretty girl demon.
Oh, okay. That was a special case, though. You know, right? They wanted... They were only drinking, like, little droplets of human blood.
And like, every other goddamn demon is, like, able to hold a conversation.
Yeah, but, like, even if they can hold a conversation, it's still... They can be bloodthirsty as well.
So like, why does Nezuko need the goddamn gag? Why does she need the gag when all the other demons are perfectly capable of living lives and fitting into human society without a gag?
Nezuko's, like, a very special case, I think.
What makes her special?
Well, at first she was just like a regular feral demon, but now she's, like, slowly leveling up along with Tanjiro as well through her sleep nujutsu kind of energy training levels.
I sit and do nothing.
Yeah, like, sleeping is, like, her way of, like, powering up, like, Super Saiyan, I guess. So the more she sleeps, like, the more badass she's gonna be, you know. Every time I see her sleep, like, I know it's like that's her powering up for the next fight.
Well, you want to know why I think she has a gag all the time?
Oh, this is like a sexual thing, isn't
it?
it?
Yeah, it's like a total BDSM little sister fetish. It's 100% a fetish, and you will not convince me otherwise. It's funny though. It's you know, not a woman. I'm pretty sure a woman who drives it. What's her name? Kyoku Goturugu. I'm probably mangling it horribly. If anyone wants to tell me how to pronounce it properly, feel free. Kyoku Goturugu. I'm pretty sure it's she's a woman, and it's kind of funny. I always get a kick out of when you know, you have a woman author is doing shonen manga. But I think she's got this sort of, like, BDSM fetish, and you see it in the big climax of the spider fight, where, like, Nezuko is, like, trapped in the webs, and she's, like, in this, like, really fetishy position.
See, she's the artist behind this manga?
Yes.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, so it's like, I guess in some way, but you know, it's really hard to see Nezuko in that kind of light, because this is his baby sister. Like, he's trying to make sure to protect. Like, I can't. It can't, like, necessarily fetishize Nezuko in that way. Like,
I mean,
and like,
you probably
shouldn't.
You probably shouldn't, but I mean, it's there. I mean,
It's happened. I know.
it's already there, and let's not look. I mean, later on in the manga, she gets like a power up where she has like a sexy adult, more adultish form. If you want to see what that looks like, go type in Demon Slayer cover 11. You take a little preview of that.
Okay.
And so. And you know, then there's the fact that they're the whatchamacallit, the lightning guy. Zenitsu's kind of lusting at her. Oh my god, you're my beauty. Did you see cover 11?
I'm gonna look it up right now.
All right, let me know when you have it. But so you'd say it generally doesn't fall into like the weird, creepy Japanese, little sister fetish. But
okay, that one particular scene where she's strung up. Like, yes, in some ways, yeah, that was kind of, yeah. Yeah, I could see that, but, oh, yeah, look, what am I looking up with Nezuko?
No, just type in Kimetsu no Yaiba, Demon Slayer, cover 11, manga cover 11, volume 11.
Cover 11. All right, let's see. Okay. So that's okay. All right. That's fetishizing it even more. Yep. Okay.
So does that sort of lay things to rest a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit.
It's not like series destroying, but it's like one of those kind of things where it's like, oh.
But like, what's her name? The one of the, oh fuck, what are they called? The Hashiras. One of the Hashiras, the one with like the chest sticking out. That was probably the most like lustful character I've seen.
That's probably the most erotic character. Like I'd say, it's funny though. Like you'd say that like most things that are really successful that become like big shonen things usually aren't filled with like too much fan servicey. Like My Hero Academia isn't super fan servicey. Demon Slayer is mostly not super sexual. Outside of like the weird BDSM subtext that's like kind of layered throughout.
I think they just focus more on like cute designs than anything. Like it's like more like that moe kind of look, like cutesy character designs.
Yeah, they're mostly kind of cutesy. Although, what do you think of Tanjiro and his crew with the Boar Man and what's the guy, Lightning Guy?
They were funny characters. I enjoyed like them all like sort of hating each other and getting together at the same time. Like it was a fun batch. Like I know some people complained like how annoying Lightning Guy is. What's his name? Zenitsu.
I think there's like one really fun dynamic about him. I think he's like a great character design, but it's kind of funny that like, he's a complete coward. He hates it. He doesn't want to be in it, but he can kind of be a badass. But you know, they kind of like overdoes it a little bit, where it's like becomes a little bit of much to the point where it becomes annoying, and it becomes a little bit aggravating.
Yeah, yeah, to the point where it's just like this guy, he's just gonna run from every single battle, like unless there's like a really extreme circumstances.
Pretty much, he's just gonna like run away from it like he's a coward, but he's a coward who doesn't want to kill demons. But when he goes in his little quiet state, then he has those super really badass hyper mega thunderclap modes.
You should say like his unconscious state, where he just has to get so scared that he like gets unconscious and like he thinks that someone else saved him. Like,
I will say they do a really great job of animating those thunderclaps.
Oh yeah. When he is in that unconscious state, like that's when the real excitement happens. Like, oh shit, is he gonna remember like how to do that at some point? Is he gonna those are like some of his most badass moments. But otherwise he's just like as annoying as shit like all the time.
pretty much.
Yeah.
I feel like he could be toned down just a little bit, just a tiny smidgen, and they maybe be quite a little bit less aggravating.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they did that on purpose. Sort of like maybe because a character like that is so annoying, like it kind of boosts the other characters up a little bit more and how they interact with them. Like they kind of play uh you know, they play I don't know. Do you know what I mean? It's just
They play off of him better because he's so obnoxious.
yeah, they lower the bar for one character super low so the other characters can like use him as like a stepping stone to reach higher heights.
Because I mean, it's funny. Like you could say his analog is Usopp from like One Piece. Like Usopp's kind of similar, but and I love Usopp because Usopp's the human character. Where it's like oh, you're in this crazy pirate world and you're terrified, and it makes sense because most regular people would be more like Usopp than Zoro or Sanji and Luffy.
Yeah.
I also love the fact that like Zoro's living proof that if Usopp wanted to, he could just like lift a bunch of weights and get super strong because that's just how One Piece world works. If you lift enough weight enough, for long enough, you'll eventually be able to shoot laser beams out of your swords. But
Yep.
and Usopp could do that, but just like we could all learn to code and build our own Facebook if we really wanted to, but we choose
Learn
not
to
to.
swing swords like Zoro.
Yeah, exactly. Usopp could pick the hard choice, but Usopp knows he's not good at it. Usopp doesn't have any interest in
or
it.
learn hockey.
Yeah,
Hockey.
well, he kind of does. Remember, technically, Usopp does have observation hockey.
That is true. Yeah, that's a good point. It would make a lot of sense too. Also, if he shot like hockey imbued bullets too.
Well, we'll have to wait and see if he gets that as a power up, or if that's even possible. But yeah, so
Usopp is definitely like one of the first characters that I associate Zenitsu with.
yeah, and I guess the idea is that like Zenitsu's like that classic archetype of Vash the Stampede, where Vash is like he's super jitsi and love and peace and kind of obnoxious most of the time, but then he has this super epic badass I'm the humanoid typhoon best gunslinger of all time moment every now and then, which is like maybe 5% of the series. And Zenitsu definitely is in that model, although I feel like it's a little bit like it could be a little overdone, a little aggravating. It's at points.
Yeah, no, I can see that, but for some reason it doesn't detract from the rest of the series for me.
Well, this is just me nitpicking. I'm a nitpicking Nancy. I'm playing the contrarian. I'm being like, well, I see you think it's the cool series. Well, I'm going to come up with my little things of nitpicking. Nya, 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 nya.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, I think it's a valid point to, be kind of like very critical of his character, but it's odd that it's odd to me that still like it doesn't detract that much else from the series. So that's why I kind of like I go back to like the rest of the characters being strong because of him. I think that's like that's an interesting analysis in itself to see like how does Zenitsu not ruin Demon Slayer for you?
No,
like he's on screen a lot of the time.
He gets a lot of screen time. Him and the fucking Boar Boy. Although the Boar Boy's a little bit more fun, and it's even more fun when you learn that he's actually this sexy blonde hair, but he's just like this. Almost has that Denji appeal. Actually, this is a really interesting question. I mean, it's not a fair comparison, but as you know, me and Zavi's favorite thing is good old Chainsaw Man, and Chainsaw Man obviously hasn't gotten an anime. But how do you think Chainsaw Man compare? And if I bet you, like, we went to the Demon Slayer manga, you could say the Demon Slayer's first year of manga has been adapted. How do you think this first year of story arc compares to Chainsaw Man's?
Chainsaw Man already had its first year?
Yeah, it's been in publication, 66 chapters.
Well, I mean, it's really hard to compare the two because, like, Demon Slayer is is like your stereotypical like shonen storytelling,
Yeah,
right?
this is actually pretty apt. So the rehabilitation training arc ends at chapter 52. So the first like 25 episodes of the manga basically covers the first year of Kimetsu no Yaiba's publication, which is about 52 chapters and converted into 25 episodes. So Chainsaw Man's a little bit further than that, but it's a good comparison point in terms of how do you think Kimetsu no Yaiba's first story arcs compare to Chainsaw Man's?
It's hard to say. My girlfriend's just walking around with a cat right now. So I think Demon Slayer did a really good job with the shonen archetype. The archetypes that's kind of been like beaten to death almost. But Chainsaw Man, it's like it's really trying to do something different, and it's really hard for me to judge between those two because Chainsaw Man feels more like a seinen manga than a shonen manga right now to me. But Demon Slayer, it's like it's trying to do the tried and true formula, but it's not being generic about it. So I'd say if we're talking about which one,
well,
what's the question again? Which one is better?
Yeah, which one have you enjoyed better?
Is it gonna be that awful if I say Demon Slayer?
You son of a bitch! Ah! Justify your choices against the Lord of Denji.
I don't know. I think it's really challenging to make an interesting shonen manga nowadays or shonen series nowadays because it's been like it's such an oversaturated field, and it's hard to, if you use like the same formula all the time, eventually people are going to get sick and tired of it. But for some reason, I'm not sick and tired of Demon Slayer at the moment. It was really well animated. Two, like characters were fun and interesting. Like the upper rank characters, the Hashiras as well, and that fight with that little spider kid. That was pretty well done fight scene. Like all the fights are actually pretty fun. Like how Tanjiro finds this thread during combat to like find the perfect like slice. Like it was speaking more of like in terms of a metaphor than like a super hyper energy battle kind of thing. It's like it feels more like metaphoric.
So you like that idea where it's like, oh, I'm seeing the flow of my opponent, and if I find the thread, that's where I can slice their thing. Versus like Tanjiro shooting water blades all the time with his fourth forms of the water dance breath thing.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like we don't necessarily need like physical energy manifestations from the hero characters, like them just like having that like sort of visual metaphor for like how they're fighting is also a really interesting to see during combat.
And to you, that's sort of like something you feel you haven't seen before, and that's sort of like what makes it visually.
I have definitely seen it before, but it's I think it's well done with how they do it with Demon Slayer.
And here's another aspect of Demon Slayer I'm kind of curious to ask you about. What do you think about sort of Tanjiro, the big defining trait of his character, that he is the character who kills with kindness. He's like so nice to people that he always seems to find something to like find forgiveness to the demons and sympathize with them, and he treats them very gently. There's that big scene where he's like whatchamacallit with the big spider boob girl, and then she's like, he does, the slicing water with gentle fist, and then she's like, "Oh, this feels so nice. This is such a nice way to die."
It reminds me a lot of Naruto. Naruto, he had that thing where he's like, believe it, He always said believe it. It's like that really cheesy, like goody two shoes kind of thing to do for a character, but it kind of annoys you like deep down inside. But
well, he's still killing them. He's still killing them. So
it's a defining character trait for him, and you don't have to like it, but it helps you identify him as like, this is a gentle character. He's a gentle guy. We don't see that many gentle shonen protagonists, and it kind of makes him like a little bit unique, maybe a little bit annoying sometimes. Like, how can you forgive like all these demons that kill mass amounts of people? But it's just there. It's just there to define him as a character, but he has other good traits too.
Well, I thought you were gonna be like, oh, I completely love it. I love the fact that he's like this empathetic character who understands people and learns their backstory, and that's sort of like the big defining thing that like makes him or separates him from other shonen protagonists. Like Luffy beats the shit out of people, but he does not give a shit after the beating is done. He's not like, oh, I want Crocodile to have a gentle death.
For some reason, it bothers me in some respects for like the super awful demons that like torture kids and kill them outright. Like the one demon that was like playing the I forget what
the drums, the tamarind drums.
Yeah.
Tamari drums or whatever.
And he's like, wow, you're really talented demon art. It was so awesome. and the demon was like crying like, wow, that's the first time someone's complimented me about my drums. So like that kind of stuff was a little bit annoying, but it was consistent with his character being kind, and yeah,
because that's the big selling point.
That's his brand.
That's his brand. He finds empathy with everyone, and he's a little boy who doesn't want to fight, but he has to for his sister. But he tries to find kindness for the people who are trying, and that's what the differentiation between the him and the Hashiras, who were like, oh, just kill all the demons. There can be no thing. But then again, the subtext about them is that they've all been traumatized by demons through various sad backstories, which will eventually be revealed as the series goes along.
Yeah.
But overall, it seems like you agree that you think this was, Demon Slayer deserved its place as the one of the best series to come out of the next year, deserves its place as the Shonen King right now.
I think so. I almost want to like spit out my rating right now, but it was a very solid series. Like it felt good, and I'm excited for season 2 or the movie that's gonna come out. That's gonna tell the second arc, right?
I think what the movie's gonna do is whatchamacallit. The movie's gonna cover this arc called the Demon Train arc, and the Demon Train arc is like 17 chapters, so it's not super long. And yeah, it'll just cover that, and then eventually season 2 will continue and cover the rest of the manga.
Okay. So wait, so the anime is not going to cover the train arc?
I hope not. My guess is that the movie's going to cover the train arc, and then eventually what'll happen is, a couple months later, then it'll go into a traditional season 2.
Okay. It's just, that'd be weird to... Do you think anime viewers are going to get confused by that? Or do you think they're all gonna be on board. Like, oh, we'll see this movie.
Well, it's kind of interesting for like I don't think I've ever seen this in like a shonen storytelling. It seems like
Yep.
almost next level where it's
I
you
I'm all
know
for it.
you'd rather have like a movie cover legit canon content and just do it up to the nils with like super production value than have some generic movie where Tanjiro fights generic movie demon. And then there's some little kid in a village whose like mom dies, and then Tanjiro has to save him, and then he leaves the village, and then the little kid also has like a little sister, and then Tanjiro, through his shonen heroics, teaches the little kid that he's got to protect his little sister, just like Tanjiro protects his little kid, and then it ends with Tanjiro waving goodbye and saying, "Oh, thank you so much. We'll never mention you again because we're not going to mention you in the real canon."
Um, yeah, do you think it'll feel like that, like almost like a filler movie? This whole train arc.
No, I think it's going to feel like legit content. I think it's like kind of exciting. I'm excited that like we're getting to this point.
It just feels like so weird that we're finally gonna get a movie with consequences like that tied directly into the series. I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna feel like watching it in the theaters and gonna be like, and then expect it to tie in with the rest of the anime.
That is a good question. I think it's a really cool idea. If like we're gonna do these movies, why not have the movies be like these big consequential things?
Yeah, definitely. Oh, you know, like how, like how at first there's a movie of something, and then you get like the TV spin-off of it.
Well,
Is this gonna be like the reverse of that? Like
the worst thing that they could do, which would really piss me off, is if they like do the movie, but then on the TV they like redo the exact same story that they saw in the movie.
yeah, that would suck.
Because like they did it with Dragon Ball Super, where like before they got to new original content, they adapted the first two Dragon Ball movies that were Akira Toriyama supervised. The one with the cat monster Beerus, and then the other one where Frieza returns, and they turned those into like really stretched out anime adaptations, which was just kind of a weird waste of time before going on to new material. But I would hope that they don't do that with the anime, where it's like, hey, let's just do this material again.
Yeah, that would suck.
But I think that would be really cool. Wouldn't you like that if like One Piece like took a break and then they like they specifically like decided, okay, here's the Luffy versus Kaido fight. We're gonna like have a big movie centered around this, and we're just gonna go balls to the wall with the best animation and the best Sakugo that we can provide.
Yeah, that'd be cool. But I wonder if the movie would cover even more, like way more content than the manga could. Like it'll probably be like a really deep dive into that conflict.
Good question. I don't think it's. I think it's just going to cover the material. I think it's going to like cover it, and I think it's just going to do it with like really killer, brand spanking, top of the line animation.
Yeah, well, maybe. Yeah. Oh, this will be really interesting. I can't wait to see it. I think this is a great experiment.
It is like a really bold experiment. So, what was your favorite arc of the Demon Slayer?
Well, definitely the spider arc.
Oh, you like that better than the final selection in the mountain training?
Yeah, I like that. I like that better, just because we get to see a little bit of Zenitsu fighting against that spider with his master of one move only, one technique only kind of thing. That was fun. Inosuke getting his ass whooped. Like I expected at least each character to get their kind of like their high moments there, but Inosuke didn't even get one. He just got his ass beat. So that was like a nice change of pace. And then Tanjiro, he kind of got his ass beat a little bit, but then he had a really big high moment, and that high moment didn't even finish off the main villain. He needed help, and I thought that was like a great way to introduce like all the other like top tier Hashiras into the series, and show that Tanjiro still had a long way to go to being like an actual like badass, super like badass protagonist.
So you like that creative element in terms of like, oh, here's this, he learns the breath of fire, and he's this incredible animation where he does this dual attack with his sister, and oh my god, he definitely got him, but not
and that
quite.
was a really cool moment.
Oh yeah, and they animated the fuck out of that.
The blood, like exploding blood technique, like that was cool to combo it with Tanjiro's as well. Just like the hilt of the sword, basically. And the Spider Kid, the way he countered that, like cutting off his own head, that was so cool too. I really liked that fight. That was the best fight of the series.
Oh yeah, that was definitely a fantastic fight. Although since I am Mr. Contrarian, I'm going to nitpick. I hated the fact that it was like, oh, the little kid is actually the real villain, and then the kind of like retcon backstory to like try and make him seem significant.
Wait, why do you think that was?
Because the way it's first set up is that like you've got Tanjiro is fighting with the big spider, and it feels like he's the head of the spider demons, right?
Right.
So and then he gets swatted away in Inosuke, and you're thinking like, oh, Tanjiro, you got to get back there so you can fight off the big boss, and he's even like, get away from my family, which makes you imply that he's like the big boss man. And then he finds the little kid, and then it turns out the little kid is actually the big boss man.
There was a bit of foreshadowing, though, in the anime. Like how scary this little kid was. Remember, he had a conversation with the mother spider? He was like, I'm going to get... Hey, mother. And the mother like started to freak out, like, I'm going to get father to punish you. And that whole time was just like, he's still doing pretend family with these demons, but she's really actually afraid of the son. The son.
Well, okay. Well, here's my argument to there though. That would, I'm going to get father implies that the father is the supreme demon and he's the big boss man.
Right. Like that's what we thought it implied. Like that's what we thought that it was going to be, but now that scene has a whole nother context to it.
That she was like terrified of him?
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like somewhere along the line the father was meant to be the big final boss, but then it was like
I don't think so. I think it was a really clever...
You feel like it was a clever twist? Uh-oh, we lost connection for a second.
Disconnect. You back?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. What was I saying? I thought it was a really just clever twist that it was a really well thought out, clever little twist.
I feel like it was not that clever. I feel like it was not like a twist. I feel like it was just sort of like a retcon, a retroactive continuity. Where it was sort of like, this is what I thought was the big guy. Oh, wait, but no, actually, it was this thing.
No, there was like some foreshadowing, too. They showed the little kid, like, confronting the mother about, like, how father was going to punish her.
Yeah, and the whole point was about the that you just build up the father as like the big final antagonist. Yes,
that was the and we saw how powerful the father was too. Yes, and he is super strong, but it like of course like all these spider demons are probably going to be super strong. But the real fear was that kid. That you could sort of see it like the recontextualizing of that scene when you see the little brother is like um, scaring the shit out of his little sister and torturing her. You could sort of see like all these children seem like they're terrified of this one little kid, and this kid is kind of like, stone faced, stone cold, emotionless, like child, but he's actually the ringmaster of it all. Like I don't know, I could see it like from that moment, like, oh, this is what they were thinking this whole time.
And that's you sort of bought that, and you were kind of like sold on the idea that like he was the ringmaster and that he turned out to be the final boss.
Oh yeah. I was sold on that when, as soon as we saw that scene with him torturing the kid.
Well, here's an interesting question. What do you think? One thing that Miss Alligator Sensei Mom, the person, I'm not going to try and butcher their pronunciation of their name, seems to be special, and what drives Demon Slayer's success is the fact that all of the demons get some sort of sob story backstory. And that was what Kishimoto was really great at for all of his villains in the early arcs of Naruto. How do you think the sob stories of the Demon Slayer demons compared to the Naruto ninjas?
Well, not too great, but I mean, sort of there, sort of getting there. I guess it's a little bit better than some other things. Sometimes.
Interesting. Well, what makes you say that? Why just sort of there, but not quite all the way?
I don't know. Just it's hard to feel bad for the demons, but like if you sort of think about it in a different way, they are being like controlled against their human will. Like you think of it like zombies, right? There was a human aspect to the zombies, and those were good people, and now they're doing awful things. But when you kill that zombie, you're sort of like saying, okay, now you don't, now your human soul can rest in peace, kind of thing,
That's an interesting comparison. It's not like you see them more as like zombies, where it's like they need to be pacified. They can't learn to be good, like the Gara or Zabuza. Yeah. Why am I messing up that name? You see them as that they can be redeemed, or they can't be redeemed. They have to be put down like dogs. Unlike the ninja, who can redeem and become better people.
Yeah, like you can't like convert them to humans. Like not all of them can be like Nezuko. But like Nezuko isn't even like fully converted. She's like a pacified zombie, if you can sort of think of it like that.
That's a very interesting comparison. I don't think I've ever seen anyone like talk to her and say that she's like a pacified zombie.
She doesn't even say anything. She just like she has a gag in her mouth. Like she can't even communicate.
Yeah, so she can have that little sister BDSM fetish.
I guess, yes.
Oh yeah, that sexy bamboo gag. Oh yeah, don't want your little sister talking to you because they got bamboos, even though all the other demons can talk.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's my thinking about the demons. Like, that's why I think Tanjiro sort of like forgives, sort of like says "Rest in peace, demon" after he kills him or whatever, and says like, "Oh, you're." But that was still weird, like complimenting the demon art. I think because like, it's like, let's say there's a super zombie he was fighting. There was a zombie he was fighting. Like, wow, your biting technique was really good. I like the way that you bite and like infect other humans. It was really well done. See how stupid that sounds? Like the demons aren't supposed to have like good soul.
I like that. I like that a lot. Your
Why
group
would
fight
the
thing
demons
was so great.
for his combat ability? Like fuck that. Just
Well, I guess the idea is that, like, for you know, some of their combat ability is based on things that they liked when they were humans, and that kind of like became to define them in their second demon life. And the idea is that like their sort of sins were created from their former lives, and that Tanjiro believes that, like, you know, empathy is the true way. And then there's that scene later on during the rehabilitation arc where he's talking to like the super condescending girl who always sounds like she's super condescending.
which one?
There's two butterfly girls that look a little too similar.
Oh,
There's the Hashira butterfly girl, and then there's the other love interest butterfly girl.
but the other love interest butterfly girl doesn't even speak. You're talking about one of the other trainee butterfly girls, right?
Well, there's the Hashira, and then there's the I guess trainee, the one who like flips a coin all the time.
The one who flips the coin all the time doesn't even speak though. That's a different butterfly girl. You're
Yeah,
thinking.
yeah, it's a different. The Hashira butterfly girl is the one I'm talking about.
Okay, yeah. What about her?
She's there's that scene where she's like, you know, I wish I could find a different way, but I'm just so angry at the demons that I just want to kill them all. And then you're like, Tanjiro, I think you will find a way to breach the, you know, find peace between us.
Yeah, like that's kind of weird. It seems like they're basically zombies to me. You want to wipe them out so you can cleanse their soul, and or like give them a cure, like what he's planning to do with Nezuko, like cure them, because like their souls are just generally evil, right? Like there's a few good exceptions, like you know, like in the beginning, like towards the early parts of the series with
Well, there's like Tamoyo and her little boy toy.
Right.
They're the most benevolent. I think they're the only benevolent demons we see in the series. I forget if there are any other ones.
Right.
I've done, you know, it's funny. There's what I like to call a lazy reading, where like the series intrigues me enough that I'm like, now I'm up to date with it and I'm like following along as it's being published. But I didn't like it enough to like go read back of all the issues. So now I'm waiting for the anime to like slowly catch me up to the eventual see the final adapted, because it's weird. It's funny. It's like 200 chapters in, but it feels like it's you know, this is it. This is going to be the big climax.
So you've been reading the manga as well?
Yeah.
Okay. You know, I actually like the end sequences of the anime where they show like pages from the manga too, and like seeing how
and then they just sort of like pop out and start talking.
yeah, like the art has this like really like nice quality to it. Like, it's hard to describe. It's like a dainty, like feudal Japan influence.
This like
style.
ukiyo kind of artwork. Is that what you mean? Like it feels like ukiyo artwork brought to life.
I'm not sure what ukiyo is, but maybe
go look it up. I think you'll see what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's funny that you think you like the art so much, because I always thought the art was kind of like subpar.
Yeah, sort of like ukiyo style with like these very subtle like ink wash gradation stuff going on. I thought they really were doing a good job like making it have that kind of ukiyo feel with this show, and like the stylistic choices of how they draw the characters with like these weird like jagged like lines, jagged outlines. Like the outlines themselves are even like jagged and uneven as well, but along top of like this, you know, ukiyo art aesthetic,
And you think that's sort of like what helps the art stand out, or what you think is impressive? I still can't believe you dare insult our Lord and Savior Denji and say that the first arc of or the first year of Demon Slayer is stronger than the first year of Chainsaw Man.
It's really hard to say that Denji Chainsaw Man is a shonen manga. Like it's such a fun seinen series to me so far, and I don't see it. I don't see it transforming into like a shonen saga. Like
What makes it feel so seinen versus shonen to you?
like how they're killing off characters left and right.
Hey,
It's like this darkness demon kind of thing. I actually haven't read the most recent chapter though. I don't think.
oh, you should go catch up on your live stream that you're running simultaneously with this.
Yeah.
But what? Just because there's a high body count, people die in Demon Slayer.
Yeah, but not to that degree. Not as brutally and ruthlessly as what you would call it,
Chainsaw Man.
Yeah.
Well, here's a real big question. Do you think that the Bomb Girl arc is how do you think that compares with the Spider arc? Since I'd say they're both applicable in terms of like the both series' respective timelines.
Oh my god, I almost forgot about Bomb Girl arc. That was a really good high point for Chainsaw Man. That was that was like one of the high points. I completely forgot about that arc. How did I forget about that arc?
How could you forget about that incredible arc? That series-defining, amazing arc. Oh shit! Now you're being brought back to the light of Denji.
It's hard to compare them still because like they're so different in terms of like what they're going for.
Where this is like this is basically shonen to its core. It follows every step of the way. We've got the introductory arc. We've got the introduction of the power system, where the character gets the power system. We've got sort of like a grounded aesthetic where it feels like Tanjiro isn't super powered. He kind of like has human limitations, where he gets like really, really tired and like his incredible skills just breathing really well.
Yeah. It's not even like a super energy laser beam of any kind, not super terribly supernatural, but all this combat movement with like the water flowing from his sword, like that's all like metaphor basically, and that's the same thing with Zenitsu's thing as well. I found that to be cool, and the way they do the art for that as well. Like I feel like it stands out.
It does look really cool. The the flowing water of his like sword slashes. It looks great in the anime.
Yeah, and they use I think they use like CG kind of stuff while they have Tanjiro doing all that watery movement stuff. So it's like really, it's like a jarringly like, sort of like
mix between 2D and 3D, and it only works really, really well.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the words for this. It's just like you can visually distinguish between the metaphor and like what's real because of that distinction in art.
So you like that aspect of it? That's interesting. What was I going to say? So you've got that. Then you've got like the first few arcs where he goes on these Monster of the Week missions, and then eventually he sort of like gets a team of nakama to go on adventures with. And then you get introduced to the power system where it's like, oh, well, this is what the top guys look like. And there's like a whole group of them, just like the captains and the Jonin or the Senin and Naruto. And we love that shit. Or the Yonko or the Shibukai. We fucking love that shit so much.
Yeah. Well, it was cool. to see them all together and like with all their unique personalities.
And you're just kind of like, man, I wonder what this guy's super sword technique breathing shit is, and I wonder what that guy's breathing shit is.
They all like a lot of them actually kind of remind me of like gym leaders you would see in like some of the Pokemon games, like the flame guy and the poison lady. Uh, Trying to think who else might be a gym leader. I can't.
The rock guy, the Buddha guy who's always
Maybe
crying.
maybe yeah, he would be a rock type or a steel type or something.
Yeah, that is actually really interesting. Yeah, they do feel like they would kind of like feel like fit right in with like gym leaders of Pokemon.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite character design out of all the Hashiras or the pillars?
Oof. I don't know. I thought Butterfly Girl's things was interesting because like her cloak turned into like a butterfly silhouette design, like as she's flying through the air. I thought that was pretty neat. Like there are a lot of pretty neat choices with the designs for these. I think each of these designs are pretty strong. Like they have unique silhouettes, all of them.
Well, like which is your favorite? Which do you think is like the best design? Which one do you gravitate towards? Is it Boob Girl, Rock Guy, super angry Wind Boy? Who kind of, you know what he kind of reminds me of, and I couldn't put my finger on it. He reminds me of the little kid that everyone loved from Bleach.
Grimjaw?
Not Grimjaw, the white haired kid with the ice.
The angry one who was like stabbing Nezuko?
Yeah.
It reminds me of like a
he's like a super edgy version of that little white kid or the little ice kid from Bleach.
he's like a combination of the Ice Kid and Grimjaw, like in one character. Like the super edgy version of Grimjaw and the Ice Kid.
Yeah, that's pretty apt. The super edgy. I've got scars all over me. I'm angry all the time.
I didn't like him that much, honestly, but I mean, I'm glad there's a character like that. Just sort of like they have this weird like balance of personalities, like extreme personalities, like all in the same Hashira's group, and they all somewhat get along with each other to some degree.
Well, the big powerful moment is like he's like, aha, I want to kill her. I'm gonna stab Nezuko. I'm gonna kill him. Blah blah blah. And then although I do think that the whatchamacallit, the leader is like kind of like a great like leader in the sense that like the great sage character, and he kind of like fits that bill. Forget his name.
Yeah, I did too.
And it's sort of like what sells it to you is like how they all immediately prostrate themselves in respect to him because he is just great sage wisdom, even though his like face is decaying.
I think it's like a burn scar or something.
I forget what the lore is, that like his family was cursed and they don't live that long. So that's what it is. That's like the curse degrading, and the reason why is that the curse came from his family line, was like Muzan came from it. Until they kill him, the curse will inflict his family for generations.
Okay. So, spoilers.
Oh, minor lore and backstory spoilers.
Well, yeah. I thought that was a great thing they did for the leader. Like how they showcased the Hashiras and the leader. That was pretty cool. Well done. I did like that.
Always good to show a power system, and yeah. So it's like, but back to the shonen or the comparison of Kimetsu no Yaiba, Demon Slayer to Chainsaw Man.
Why do you want to compare them? Like, how can you compare them? How? I want to see you try.
It's interesting that you say like Chainsaw Man is like the breath of fresh air, while Kimetsu no Yaiba is like the straight student that's like following all the fundamentals. It is the basketball player that, well, because they're both published in the same magazine, and I feel like Chainsaw Man is the future of what we'll see, and I feel like it's like the next thing. Well, Kimetsu no Yaiba is like kind of the past, but it is like the past taken to like such a fine point. And I think the shonen formula is like so goddamn solid that like if you execute it well, it's almost always addictive. It's always satisfying to see someone with a unique power set, and then they have to fight whatever, and then they introduce the higher ups of the organization, and then they have to fight against the other higher ups of the organization, in this case, the upper moons and the lower moons.
Yep.
I'm always like a sucker for that shit. So it's like, you know, the minute you, I want to know what his power is. I can't wait to see what this power is.
Yeah, and I think it's not a coincidence that the main villain of the series is like a Michael Jackson looking character, sort of similar to the successful Michael Jackson looking Naruto villain in the past. Like or at least Michael Jackson feeling villain.
That's funny.
I maybe Japan really has this like subtle, like maybe not so subtle, like
fetish for evil Michael Jackson.
Yeah, the fetish for evil Michael Jackson kind of thing.
That is an interesting observation that like you know, two super successful series have evil Michael Jackson as like the central antagonist, and whether or not that's like a subconscious choice to like create him. Although, did you like Muzen's introduction when he, you know, Tanjiro runs him into the city?
Yeah, I was actually really surprised they introduced him like that.
Yeah, I was very surprised too. I thought they were gonna like hold off on the introduction of the villain and kind of like build him up a little bit more versus like him running into him in the middle of the street.
Yeah, that felt really fucking random. Like Tanjiro sniffed him out, and he was like, "Muzan, I'm gonna catch you," and then he's like, you know, creates a demon lightning flash, like while he's with his human family. It was a really bizarre moment. Like I guess I didn't mind it that much. Just surprised, I guess.
I wouldn't complain about it, but yeah, you're right. I was a little bit surprised. I thought they were going to build it up, and since that was like his main objective, it was going to be more like a, you know, holy shit, that's what he looks like, and then it was kind of going to build up the legend a little bit more. I was surprised to see him like come off right off the bat. Although I do like Muzan is a fun, strong villain.
Yeah.
And you also get the big moment where he's like in his interdimensional castle, and he's got all the lower moons. And then he just slaughters them all because he thinks that they're ineffective.
For some reason, like he's like shapeshift into a woman version of himself, and then starts eating all the lower ranks of them because of the failure of the spider guy, I guess.
Yeah, that was his whole thing, that he was like.
That felt super weird. Like, why would he eat them all like that?
I don't know if he was eating them. He was just sort of like slaughtering them.
Yeah, I'm swallowing them.
But I think it was just to sort of show how like cruel and volatile he can be, and the idea that like, you know, there's no way to really please him, and that he's always a danger even to his own people.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
That he's super smart, but at the same time, like when he gets in that psychotic side, that like, you know, there's no right answer.
Yeah, like I guess it's kind of scary, but I thought he'd be a little bit like. It doesn't seem like as that smart of a decision to just kill off all your underlings that you gave power to. Like, because of the failure of one other guy.
Yeah, you're probably right. That I don't think he like puts a lot of thought into like his organizational effectiveness. I think his idea is that like, you know, I'm super powerful. The Demon Slayers are never going to be able to kill me. You know, I just have these people to like be a little bit more convenient. And if they're not doing a good job, then fuck that shit. But you know, it doesn't matter. I'm going to be okay no matter what.
I see. Yeah, I guess so.
Versus, like, you know, I'm going to be an effective villainous mastermind and run my shit, you know, tight on lock. Like, I'm trying to think. Like Crocodile was, like, a really, really good villainous mastermind character.
You think maybe he cut him down shorter because maybe the creator was like, 12 is too many. Like, you can't have too many of these, like, lower like we can't have 12 steps to get to Muzan. We have to have a little bit fewer steps to get to Muzan.
Possibly. I mean, there is a real possibility that the editor was like, okay, you've got these like really great designs for the upper demons and backstories, but what about the lower demons? Let's crank up the popularity. Let's just show this guy's such a badass. He's going to get rid of the lower demons. Although technically, there's still one lower moon, and that's going to be the central villain for the next arc, obviously.
Oh yeah. That should be good.
The androgynous looking fellow.
Yeah, like his design doesn't really doesn't seem that striking to me compared to some of the other designs, but maybe he'll surprise me to be like a significant villain character.
Well, I didn't read that arc, so I don't know. Maybe he's really great. Well, we'll see in time. When the movie comes out, which of course I'm very curious about. But so it sounds like you're on the Demon Slayer train, but you're more on the Demon Slayer train than good old Denji, despite the masterful Bomb Girl arc.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
The masterpiece of that arc. You know that arc is a masterpiece. The Spider arc is just entertaining.
It is, but it's like a masterpiece, but not in a shonen kind of way. It's like a very it hits you like a little bit deeper than something like Demon Slayer. It hits you on a deeper level. Like, wow, this is like a really fucked up. This is like a date gone like horribly wrong kind of thing, and it's like on a catastrophic level. Like a almost Evangelion kind of like esque,
The Evangelion gate from hell.
Yeah, something like that. That's what it felt like to me.
That is a funny analogy when you think about it. God, I fucking love that bittersweet ending.
Like, would you compare Evangelion to Demon Slayer? Like, how do you?
No, I wouldn't compare Evangelion to Demon Slayer.
That's exactly how I feel about comparing Chainsaw Man to Demon Slayer.
Okay, that's an interesting comparison, but it's still technically a shonen manga. It's still playing by that same rule book, even if it's a more abstract and insane rule book than that Fujimoto's working out of.
Playing by that rule book so far seems like he's writing in the same kind of seinen like mindset as he is usually.
Is there anything in Demon Slayer as effective as the darkness panel, where this devil comes with the astronauts?
God, I don't know. That'd be pretty cool to see animated. Like that would be pretty like the sense of dread would be like at another level.
Oh, I can't wait! I can't wait for that. I can't wait to eventually see that animated. Watch out, Tanjiro, and your freaking little Emoto little sister bondage fetish. Denji's coming for you. Chainsaw Man's coming for you. Your days are numbered. Your days are numbered. You may be the king right now, but you're not going to be the king forever.
Okay, well, we'll see once Denji gets animated. Maybe like a few years from now, he'll get his own anime.
He'll get his time to shine. I guess for final thoughts.
Look how long Dorohedoro took to get animated. I thought
Dorohedoro was a weird series with a very niche appeal.
And I'm sorry, what's Chainsaw Man?
Chainsaw Man is a weird niche series in a conventional framework in the most conventional shonen magazine of them all.
Okay, bro. Okay.
Shut up.
Well,
so what would you say? What would you rank the first season of Demon Slayer?
8.
8. I thought you'd be like a 9 or 9.5. I'm surprised you didn't rate it higher.
I think it's because the pacing in the beginning parts of the season were a little slow.
I'm surprised. I thought you would like a good old fashioned training arc where he's like. One thing that I thought was really smart was the sense of sadness that like, oh, he's being trained by this guy, but it's actually the dead ghost of two previous students of the main guy who died during the final selection exam.
Wait, what? Oh, oh. You mean the kid with the scar on his face? Like, what was that about? Sorry.
You didn't get that? The whole point of that was that, like, that kid was a dead ghost of a previous student of the guy who taught Tanjiro.
He was a ghost?
Yes! You didn't get that at all?
I did not get that.
You didn't get that at all? Seriously?
No, I did not.
Yeah, that was the whole point. That the girl and the guy who gave him the train, because, like, you know, whatchamacallit, the Tengu mask guy tells him, you cannot leave this until you can cut the rock. And Tanjiro's like, oh my god, I'm never going to be able to cut this rock. Then the two, you know, the mask guy and the mask girl come.
But that's not the guy with the scar on his face.
Yeah, the two people with the masks. I forgot their names.
But that's not this. Are you talking about the very end of this season?
No, the beginning. The two people that trained Tanjiro.
Yeah. So what about them?
They were both dead. They were both basically students who worked under the water breath guy. And they go to the final selection exam, and then the big fat demon that Tanjiro winds up killing with all the arms says, I killed them. They were stupid. The guy was like the fox mask.
Okay. Oh, okay. No,
Sabito.
I know what you're talking about now. I thought we were talking about something completely different.
Yeah, the guy with the scar.
There was a couple of things I liked about the training arc. Like, that was actually one of my favorite episodes where the ghost kids were teaching Tanjiro how to basically cut this rock, like in a metaphorical like sense. Like they did a lot of like ghost sword training or whatever. And I thought that was like really well done episode. That was like one of the strongest parts of the early Demon Slayer. But that when he like goes to kill that demon, like it was okay. Like, yes, the demon's like neck was like super hard to cut, but you know, like the whole motivations behind that demon, like wanting to kill Tanjiro, and also like he just coincidentally mentioned like, oh, I also killed those ghost kids that you knew, apparently. Like that just felt a little too cliche.
A little too convenient for you, like a little too much, little too lined up closely, perfectly.
Yeah, exactly. It just is a little, yeah. It felt a little contrived, I guess is the word.
Yeah, that's a good word. A little too contrived, a little too convenient. Like, you run into the exact demon that killed the little ghost babies that helped you learn your water cutting skills.
Yeah, exactly. So that felt pretty contrived to me, but you know, after that, like things, like the pacing got a little bit slow again with like fighting those other demons, the twin demons. Like I guess that was okay. Like seeing, like the combat is still really fun to watch. But then when he met those goody two shoe demons, like I guess things got a little bit better. Like you could see, you know, other characters playing off of each other. And the combat is still really fun. But I think it's other characters.
It's that sort of slowdown that kind of made you sort of feel that, like, you know, gave you only an 8, where kind of like those little lulls between arcs.
Yeah, I think so. The earlier arcs had some uh, pacing problems, I think, and I don't know that some of the things felt like that demon felt contrived.
Well, that's why I'm Mr. Chainsaw Man guy, because like I think writing early shonen arcs is really really hard,
Yeah.
because you don't have, there's a lot of exposition, and there's a lot of sort of like, monster of the week, I'm stretching my artist's limbs learning how to tell a story.
Mm.
So it's really difficult, and like the shonen storytelling is, it's like a layer, it's like a cake. It gets deeper and complex the longer it goes, and then adds upon those layers if you're doing it well. So usual stories are, you have a straw man villain, you gotta save the town. I gotta stop this demon from eating people. So they feel a little bit more cliched and contrived, and maybe that's why I think Chainsaw Man is so strong, is because in those early arcs, there's always some sort of little element that makes it a little bit more inventive, or something we haven't seen. There's Genji having like a existential crisis after feeling up Tower's boobs. There's the Eternity Devil, where you've got like the great scene of them going out for drinks later on and then getting vomited in his throat, or the fact that he's like, Genji's like, we're stuck in here forever. All right, I'm just gonna go take a nap.
Yeah. Uh, that was a
Versus,
pretty funny scene when Denji's just like takes a snooze like during that. That was pretty funny and weird. Like I kept on thinking like while reading Chainsaw Man, there's gonna be like some like higher like metaphorical thing. Um, what is the word I'm looking for? Like a higher like a higher deeper meaning behind all of this, like what's going on with Denji. Like I feel like it's something like on the scale of Evangelion, like that kind of like revelation.
well, we'll have to wait and see once we see what's behind that door, and whether that's played for a super power up or some sort of existential thing. But I'd say you got that. I mean,
Essentially.
wasn't quite on the level. I mean, you got that in this in terms of like the boob grabbing, where it's sort of like, I'm seeking my purpose, and my purpose is ultimately shallow, and I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. Uh,
Yeah,
you got that in that arc.
yeah. That almost felt like a gag, like because it's something like he does quickly forget at some point, but then I guess later on he's just kind of like okay with like still trying to find out what he wants to do. Like he's already self satisfied about like being a devil hunter, but
Well, and his purpose has been questioned again when he met Rez, and she sort of said that, like, you're in a horrible situation where you're being forced to, like, try and murder these devils, which, maul you horribly, and you're in this terrible job. Is this really what you should be doing? And to the
it's
point
like
where he was
he
like,
doesn't know anything better than that, honestly.
and it made him question to the point where he's ready to run away with her, up until the point that Makima, slaughters her.
Yeah, yeah.
What does
Good point.
Tanjiro learn? You'd say he's kind of similar. He's for. He doesn't have to. Well, I guess Tanjiro has a little bit more of an altruistic motivation, because
Yeah,
killing these demons helps him get closer to
raising his sister.
raising his sister. So he's got that sort of like altruistic motivation keeping him going.
Yeah, I feel like that's pretty good motivation for him.
Because being a demon slayer is probably as terrible as being a devil hunter.
Um, yeah, yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
They have a high mortality rate. Most of the Hashiras are like only lived to their like 20s before they're like killed or mutilated so badly that they're forced to retire.
yeah, yeah. But I think the devils in Chainsaw Man are a little bit even higher level than the demons in Demon Slayer. Like you think of the Gun Devil, for instance, like how it massacred like mass swaths of the population, like it was like catastrophic, like apocalyptic, like how it did that, and nobody like has heard of or ever seen the Gun Devil. Like it's just that badass and that scary. Like you don't want to run into that Gun Devil.
God, I can't wait to see when we eventually see the Gun Devil. Although, so, and do you have like a favorite character from the first season? Who's your MVP?
For Demon Slayer, right? Or
Yeah, Demon Slayer.
Favorite character. It's because people gonna hate me for I don't know if I can pick them.
Yeah, dude, now you gotta tell me.
I feel like Zenitsu is like the character that started to make the series like a little bit more interesting. Like, it coincided with this like this really awful character that everybody hates. Just he's got a cool design. Look at his golden shirt and hair.
I will say
He's
this.
just like, it's such a wimpy look.
I think he's actually like a really great character design. I love the fact that he's like so colorful. Just like if you look at him from an eye and you like, who does your eye wander towards? Oh, it wanders towards Zenitsu because he's like this yellow flashing siren of attention.
Yeah, yeah, but who else would be my favorite character? Probably the tapioca water guy.
Oh, you like him as like the strong mentor, like benevolent Itachi?
Yeah, he's like a benevolent Itachi, I guess. Benevolent Itachi character. I feel like
or kind of like Kite from Hunter. Or was that his name, Kite? Gon's mentor, who he works with the Chimera Ant arc.
I feel like I get a lot of shit for saying Zenitsu is my favorite character so far, but I guess it's like looking back at it, it's kind of the truth. Like that's when the series got interesting, was when Zenitsu like joined the party.
That's interesting. I'm surprised you don't like it more than Best Boy Inosuke.
Like Beast Boy is pretty fun, but he he's another fun like side character, I think, but he doesn't quite have like as cool design as Zenitsu.
One thing I was really surprised about is that I thought they were going to make more of a big deal when he takes his like mask off, but like he just sort of does it like nothing. Like I figured there was going to be like, ooh, I wonder what he looks like, but then there's just like a scene with him without the mask on, and you're like, oh wow.
I do like how under the mask it's subtly like what you would least expect. This is like a very feminine face of people who mistake would be a woman instead of a man under there.
Well, yeah, I think that's the sort of like twist, is that, oh my god, he's a Bishi hottie boy. He's a very effeminate. Oh, all right. So Mr. Ayers01 asks, how do the new crop of shonen MCs such as Tanjiro, Deku, Chainsaw Man's MC compare to previous ones such as Luffy, Naruto, Ichigo, or Goku? This is actually an interesting discussion question. And I guess you could say that like Deku and Tanjiro kind of have like the same sort of DNA. That Deku has this sort of sense of empathy for people, and he's like a little soft boy, and Tanjiro's also a little soft boy who feels bad. And they have a little bit of a thread of DNA, and that's sort of like an overall thread that we've been seeing. Like 80s shonen protagonists were like, I'm a super buff guy. I'm going to punch everything down and
I'm going to blast your ass, and I don't give a fuck.
I don't give a fuck. It's like Jotaro. It's like, who calls his mom a bitch and walks around. he just, like, beats the shit out of it. And then you gotta, like, get, like, then they get softer, and then they become, like, little punk edgy boys. like Luffy, who's like, I don't want to go to bed. I'm gonna do whatever I want. And Naruto's like, I don't have parents. I'm gonna be an edgy boy. He's not super edgy, but he's kind of like, they have this Bart Simpson quality. I think that's what I'm saying. They have this mischievous Bart Simpson quality. And then now we're sort of seeing like, I guess one thing that I remember reading that like Shonen Jump did is like a sort of to like draw in more female readers. And you could say it's been successful, probably more successful than Marvel's efforts of like getting in more female viewers, is that they have like softer main characters who are a little bit more empathetic. So, kind of like a little hotter. So Deku's kind of like this sweet little boy. He's not like an edgy boy. He's a sweet boy who just wants to help people, little boys and girls. And Tanjiro feels so bad. He's like a little sweet boy who cries for his demon enemies.
It's not like okay, we'll take for instance something like the Incredible Hulk. Like that's like a power fantasy. It's not something that's necessarily more attractive for women.
Well, like, why don't we ask Meerkat? Have her come on for a second. Does she think the Incredible Hulk is an attractive power fantasy?
Now
she doesn't want to come.
Babes, do you think the Incredible Hulk is really attractive? She says no. So I think that proves my point.
No, like, look, listen. Anything that's green represents idiot.
Okay.
Like Strack,
but
the Hulk, anything green, Ninja Turtles, anything green represents monster.
Okay. She says anything green is like a monster.
Jackal High.
What about
dinosaurs?
Okay. But what is this about?
Well, so you're talking about the Incredible Hulk and how that's a monster and that's like a male power fantasy,
right? Like all these like super over the top buff men is kind of like a male power fantasy. It's not necessarily what women, like most women, would find attractive. I think they like most women would like more along the lines of like tall or cute, like Bishi boy kind of things going on, right?
We should show her some character design. Actually,
no, it's case by case.
It's case by case.
Case by case.
It's not one size fit all.
Well, actually, you should ask her. Who does she think is more appealing, Deku or? And then pull up a Jotaro character design.
Babes. All right, take a look here.
Yeah. Pull up Fist of the North Star, Jotaro, and then Tanjiro and Deku.
North Star. It's the North Star. Okay. This guy. He's kind of like inspiration off of Bruce Lee, but like more buff. Then there's Jotaro.
So which one do you like better, Meerkat?
Jotaro.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's these characters. Oops.
They're both ugly.
Which ones?
This guy's ugly.
Okay. They're all ugly?
Yeah.
And what about Fist of the North Star?
Ugly. It's like two of the extremes.
Okay, two of the extremes.
You know.
From that sample size, you also think Tanjiro?
They're not ugly, but they're just not someone you want to date.
Okay.
Wait, maybe someone you want to date, but someone you don't want to like get serious with.
Okay, which ones would you want most likely get serious with?
None of them.
I mean, which ones would you most likely want to like hook up with or something?
Probably this guy, because the other guy will make me look like I'm a pedophile.
Jotaro. She picks Jotaro.
She didn't pick Deku or Tanjiro?
No. Oh, I didn't show Deku. But...
Well, she knows what he looks like. Unless we are having a stream. We're still there?
Yeah, still here. I didn't show a picture. What about Deku, Beeps? From My Hero Academia. Do you think he's cute?
I forgot how he looks like.
Deku?
He's the main character, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's very dateable.
Okay, there you go. It's
He's
proven.
someone you want to marry. Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. So
Has a good
these sort of like
All right.
these empathetic emo boys.
He has a very big heart.
Okay.
A very, very big heart.
There
Okay.
you go. These
Very ginormous, enormous heart.
All right. So obviously we've proven our
we've proven
hypothesis.
it emphatically. Yeah, these new soft boys appeal to a new generation of female readers who would be turned off by the Fist of the North Star.
Very big heart.
Yeah.
Very, very big heart.
Yeah. She likes big-hearted heroes.
Big-hearted
so-
heroes who look
Yeah.
like they want to marry you. There you go. That's how
Yeah.
you appeal.
Yeah.
That's how you make it. So that's these new generations of shonen characters, which you see more of empathetic characters who just want to save people and be really nice. They're nice boys.
Right.
They're nice boys. And then there's Denji, who is not quite he's a dirty boy. He's a dirty and dumb boy.
Right. But he's still got a very slimmer like character than like let's say Fist of the North Star.
Yeah,
Fire Punch.
He still fits in within like the design archetype of like slimmer. Like I don't think he's like a pretty boy, but he's sort of like a little bit more coarse, but he still fits in that design template. And Ayer's happy to help you with that great examination in our scientific group by dragging the one and only girl in the room to emphatically prove our shit.
Right. We definitely proved it right then and there.
With science.
You didn't
Yes.
prove shit.
Facts
It's the opinion of one girl. You gotta ask
Facts and logic.
more girls.
Right. Well, we'll see. Well, maybe we'll do like a little straw poll.
You gotta
If
ask
you're-
other girls.
Okay.
Yeah, the only problem is like I think my female audience base is only like 13%, so I don't know how many of them will be able to female or female identifying people would be able to qualify. But I think we did science.
Right. Well, we'll see.
But yeah, I think Tanjiro fits into that, and sort of like the more. But it's interesting that you think that like once more characters were sort of like becoming the party, that's when you think the series was sort of picking up.
Yeah, I definitely think that. It just Tanjiro needed more people to play off of besides his sister who couldn't even talk. So that's one of the things that was a little bit frustrating with like him interacting with Nezuko. It's just like it's always a one-way kind of like Tanjiro's like talking to Nezuko and thinking like, oh, this is what Nezuko's feeling probably.
that
like,
I think is another creepy aspect of the Nezuko relationship, that she's like treated like his fucking pet.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. But
that he keeps in a literal box, and she can become.
She's
smaller.
become like a rabid animal, but like now somewhat domesticated. Like first little sister, then rabid animal, then domesticated, and with a mouth gag on. So
it really feels like someone's weird like Pornhub fetish. Domesticated little sister in BDSM gets put in crate by brother.
and fights and fights in shonen level action sequences.
Yeah, well, I kind of wish like Nezuko. I mean, there's a little bit of like her. I kind of like wish there was like a little bit more of like a dual system where like the brother and sister were like fighting side by side. I always thought that was a missed opportunity, and you sort of get a little bit of a sense when she like uses her demon blood art, but largely she kind of stays away from the action. And like I guess once Borgai and Zenitsu are introduced, then she kind of like fades out of the picture.
Yeah, it's just hard because she can't speak. That's one of the biggest things. It's hard to make her like that like that interesting to play off of a little. She's like a she's a very cute little sister character that and it's kind of neat to see her fight, but besides that, like there's not like really great character moments between them at all.
Well, here's the question though. Who do you think is? Wait, shit! I lost my thought. God damn it! It was a good question, but so overall, you think she's not? Oh yeah. Why do you think she can't speak when every other demon can talk?
I don't know, but you're probably right. It's a mouth gag fetish. It's gotta be.
It's this weird mouth gag fetish.
I don't know. There's no other explanation, is there? I mean, Tanjiro tried to tame the rabid dog that his sister became, so he put a mouth gag on her. They put a muzzle on her.
Yeah, that muzzle that'll never come off. Now subscribe to the OnlyFans page of some random girl dressed up as Nezuko with the gag.
Right.
Oh, anime, you gonna be anime.
Yeah.
But overall, though, it's still like I think I'd give it an 8.5. It really does remind me of Soul Eater, where I think it's like kind of like a B- C+ manga that's turned to like A+ just because of the fact that it's a really great adaptation. They went above and beyond the UFO table.
I could give it an 8.5 too. I might have given it somewhat lower ranking just because, but
like, you seem more positive about it. Like I was the one who's trying to be a negative Nancy, but you're like, oh, it's so great. I got so into it. I really loved it.
Yeah, I think just the pacing of the earlier things was like tough. Not tough, but it was a little bit boring.
I mean, it's not as bad as Black Clover.
No, nothing is quite as bad as Black Clover for me at the moment.
You know what's insane though? Like the anime is still running, but they haven't put like really big filler arcs. So now it's like
did they change the Japanese voice actor for Asta yet?
I don't know. That's a good.
Or
question.
Like change his screams?
I think he doesn't scream as much. I don't really watch it. I just see the clips. But like the thing that fascinates me is that it's like 20 chapters away from the manga.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it's like on the level of like ominously, I think even worse than One Piece. And it's like they didn't like come to an end and they like say, all right, we're gonna end it, and maybe we'll come back when the manga comes further. Nope, we're just gonna keep beating this goddamn horse.
I'm not gonna watch Black Clover unless someone pays me to do it. So
well, good thing I don't care enough to force you to. I just think it's really funny.
Yeah.
Peter Von Raymond says, I think I speak for everyone when I say that anime is weird.
That anime is weird? I don't... Depends on the anime.
I can be, but like even as much as I've like harped on the gag thing, I don't think it's as like a weird as whatchamacallit, other shit you can go down to if you really go deep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard good things about the Black Clover manga. I just don't see like the magic system being that much more interesting than like Dorohedoro feels like a great way to do this magic system thing, and like other magic systems I see like Harry Potter feels nice, but I don't know how you. Black Clover's magic system doesn't quite do it for me right now.
And I won't. I mean, I can't even get you to read that goddamn Bleach manga that I'm so desperate for you to cover. that stupid Burn the Witch.
Why? Why do you want me to read that?
I want to talk about it with you. We were Bleach lifers. I want someone else to talk about it with. The stupid manga that for some reason is getting an anime adaptation for reasons I don't quite understand.
I mean, the animation quality for that looks like it's going to be good. So maybe It's gonna be like a Soul Eater situation.
But there's no manga. There's just that fucking pilot chapter. There's nothing else.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Maybe they thought they were doing him a huge favor.
I just think it's funny. I can't think of any like manga that's like been turned into an anime based on one shot that, like, as far as I know, was not super popular.
Yeah.
But I guess the idea is like, it's time for Kubo Tite to come back. It's time for his comeback. Kishimoto has fallen. It is Kubo Tite time.
Yeah, like he needs to do something. He needs to do something that shows off his talents the best way, you know? But not this. Like he needs another project, I feel.
Well,
And he needs to work with a writer.
well, why don't you go and read it, and then you can talk about it. Maybe for all you know, Burn the Witch is brilliant, and you'll think it's brilliant.
I doubt it. I doubt it. Just reading so much of Bleach, like
I want to talk about it with you. Did you ever try and look at it?
I did. I like scanned like some of the first pages, but
what did you think of those first pages? Did they ring out to you as something you wanted to see more of?
Not really. No. No.
No.
I couldn't do it. No.
Well, Demon Slayer is the king, and it's probably going to be the king for a little while, since there's still like a decent amount of stuff to adapt. And you know, it's interesting if it's going to usher in a new era where now the production cycle will be like, oh, we do a bunch of arcs, then we do a movie, then we do another season of the anime, and then we do another movie. And I'm curious to see if that's a trend that'll catch on.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Demon Slayer should be rising pretty well towards the top. It's hard to say whether Demon Slayer or My Hero Academia should do it, but should be.
My Hero Academia is already like a huge global phenomenon. It's still doing really, really well, but Demon Slayer is like kind of like, well, I guess you could say One Piece is, yeah, that's interesting. Like when you talk about hierarchy, I'd say right now it feels like you know, the big two, and then Demon Slayer's there. It's One Piece is the eternal king. My Hero Academia is the global sensation, and
you could say that One Piece has faltered a little bit, though.
I mean, but it's still like a huge titan. It's still like basically Harry Potter, and even if it's mediocre, it's still doing well, and it's still gonna, like, you know, be this mega hyper flagship that has like a tremendous amount of goodwill and a huge global international fan base. Do not forget, One Piece is the, you know, almost the best-selling comic of all time. It's getting up there. It's going to be Batman in a few years.
I thought it already beat Batman.
It's really, really close.
I thought it beat once.
Best-selling comics of all time.
What about Coco the comic?
Coco is an adorable cat. Oh, isn't she a great cat? Let's see. One Piece is at 473 million. Batman is at 483 million. So, like 10 million to go. Oh,
someone was just typing out in one of the comments of from my chat. Nezuko is unique because she's the only known demon who has never tasted human blood. Even Tamayo and Yushiro rely on human blood to survive. So this is a pretty unique aspect to her. You got to say that.
So what? So if Tanjiro gives her some blood, maybe she'll like be able to talk.
Maybe. So it does point out that she's a little bit unique in that respect.
And she gets her power by sleeping really, really hard. Yep. All right, so I think that this has been a good stream. Any final thoughts on good old Demon Slayer before we wrap things up?
Yeah, you convinced me to boost it up to 8.5. And
I'm surprised. You seem to love it. I'm surprised I had to convince you.
I think I was probably being a little bit too negative about the slow pacing of it in the early episodes, but it's a pretty solid fun experience. I recommend it. Yep.
Yep. So if you haven't seen it, go see the sensation because I'm sure it's going to be so overexposed. You'll start to see the backlash, but I think My Hero Academia will get backlash quicker than Demon Slayer, since Demon Slayer is still like the hot new thing.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you. I think this Wednesday we're going to have a very special stream talking about The Mandalorian. I've got 2 special guests coming. Hopefully one of them doesn't wind up bailing and, we only do half a good stream. I'll be very sad if that doesn't happen. But
maybe I should do a backup in case.
Well, we'll see. No, possibly. We'll see. If worst comes to worst, we can always blot it out. But fingers crossed. I think Wednesday's going to be a very special stream. I wish I knew the time, but as soon as I know it, I'll post it up, and I hope to see you guys there. So thank you, and if you're listening to this in the podcast, thank you for listening. And remember, lobsters and antennas, but don't you grab it.
See ya.
Bye. Let me end this. All right, let's end it.
All right.
The cat's name is Coco. The cat's name is Coco. Pierre V. Raymond.
Oh, you ended the stream already.
No, I hadn't yet.
Oh, you haven't ended the stream?
No, now I ended it. Oh, man. I wish I knew what the magic formula is. That stream was not quite as good as other streams. At only 11 hours of watch time, 10 peak concurrent views.
I think it's probably because of... I don't know. Maybe it could be because I'm streaming as well. And
that shouldn't affect it. That shouldn't affect it. Oh, well, you get consistent people, and that buffs up the view rankings.
Yeah. Sometimes Tata will watch your stream, but I don't. Yeah, that probably wouldn't affect it that much.
No, not super much.